I'm like trying to wonder what I think this is about because I don't know this movie.
Okay.
Like what I think. I know it's based on a Twitter thread, but I never read the thread. You said you read it.
I can't believe you never read the thread. I thought I sent it to you.
Maybe. I mean, I don't remember it if I did.
Oh my God. No, you're like in for a treat.
Oh, okay.
It's like bonkers.
I'm like waiting for aliens.
No, it's not that bonkers. Not that bonkers, but it's pretty bonkers.
This is a dude, where's my car?
No. Are there aliens in that? I've never seen that. Yeah.
I probably have not seen it since I was 14. And
it
probably is no longer the height of comedy that it was.
I don't think the Ashton Kutcher and Sean William Scott vehicle is going to be the height of comedy anymore.
They made out like passionately about 40 minutes into the movie, and I've seen that scene a lot.
That's fair.
I got a lot of mileage out of that scene and them with their tattoos because they both had body types that
Sure. Do you want me to find you some fan fiction? I 100% guarantee you it exists.
There really doesn't need. It's the movie. They just like. You've never seen that scene?
No, I've seen that scene.
Okay, yeah.
I'm just saying, if you want to read about some like explicit stuff after they make out.
This intro to Zola took a weird turn. Oh boy. Okay, well, we just got back from Zola and we haven't talked about it.
No.
And since this was like technically my third trip back to the movies, but still, we're getting used to it. I forgot to bring my notebook, so I couldn't take notes.
I almost offered you my notebook too, but I didn't take notes either.
I just like to write down talking points because there's things that happen that you want to remember, and so I liked it.
Yeah, me too. I loved this movie.
Yeah, it's a strange movie. It knowing that it's based on a Twitter thread helps because it doesn't.
We're going to link to the Twitter thread.
Well, I was proposing that maybe I should read it, but I don't know that this is cinema verite, but there's not really a story. Like, there's not necessarily an arc. I mean, it's how she and this bitch fell out.
Yeah. My favorite part of the whole thing is literally that the entirety of the movie and the actual thing that happened from the minute they meet until the end is like 72 hours. They meet and then they like leave the next day to go to Florida. Yeah. Wild.
Mercifully, it's 90 minutes, which is all it needs.
Praise.
There could have been another 10 minutes or so. You told me that like the thread goes a little bit further.
It goes a little bit further in that.
I mean, is she out of this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Zola?
Yeah.
She's out of this.
Oh, he knows where she lives. And he knows where she works.
Well, that's the real end is, well, first of all, she has to fly home with Derek. His real name is Jarrett in the like thread, but she has to she flies home on the plane with him and he's like sobbing the entire time. And then like a couple weeks or months later, she gets a call from Stephanie. Her name's Jess. She gets a call from her and she and the guy, Coleman Domingo's like woman, got arrested trapping in Vegas. They need to get bailed out. And she's like, I'm sorry, I don't know you. And she's like, the guys, they call him Z the whole time. He got like arrested because he was trafficking 15 underage girls and stuff. And she's like, he's wanted for a bunch of murders, including the one in Florida. And Zola goes, murder? I don't know who you're talking about. Goodbye. And then never again.
While watching the movie, I was like, do you want human trafficking? Yeah. Because this is how you get human trafficking.
100%.
Okay, so this is a messy episode already, which is what it deserves.
Because he's Will and I'm Kristen. We didn't even get there. And we're talking about Zola because we were so excited to talk about Zola.
Why you on my Twitter? Why you on my Facebook? Why you on my Tumblr?
Why you DMing me? Sis, why you tagging me in photos? You don't even fuck with me.
Sis.
Let me know.
Sis.
Let me know.
Yes, sis.
So it's about a young woman.
Yeah.
An entrepreneurial type. She meets a girl at her work. The two hit it off. They text back and forth all day. And the girl Stephanie, our hero is Zola. The girl Stephanie invites Zola to Tampa to dance. And we get the impression that Zola has danced before and might possibly dance again if it's to her standards, her specifications.
But she is a dancer, not a whore.
That's just showgirls. That's not a thing in the movie.
No,
it's kind of a thing in the movie. And she presumably has a stable life and boyfriend who is like, I know that you do this, but I kind of want you to stop, but also like yada yada.
Sure.
She thinks she's going to Tampa.
I do love the moment where she's like, I gotta fuck my man calm. So good.
I actually could have used a little bit more of the narration, considering narration throws me a little bit. There's moments that feel lifted from the tweets where we just hear Zola's sort of like, and then they fucked. It was gross.
Yeah. No, it's good. I agree. I could have used more of that as well.
So she thinks they're going to Tampa to dance at like a high dollar club where like athletes and rappers and stuff go to, and they think they're going to make like $5,000.
Yeah.
Which, fair. I, my whole life, have been weary of people who best friend the shit out of you. It was a lesson I learned early.
Yeah.
And I was like, if you ever meet, especially like a girl, like a dumb bitch, and she's like, oh my God, we're like brain twins. You're not, and she's crazy.
Also, brain twins is not a real thing.
2 different girls have said that to me.
Oh, God. Guess what?
They're not still around.
And that is an aspect of my personal life going into this that informs how I view that. Is I'm the kind of person who I have a lot of friends, and all of them I've known for double-digit years.
Yeah.
Like, all of them I've known.
Because that's the thing. I'm a little bit of Stephanie, where I will best friend the shit out of you, but as soon as I realize it's a mistake, I am like the wind. Like, this was a mistake. Goodbye.
And I just have this, like, when people, like, get together and get married and stuff after, like, 3 years, I'm like, can you really know someone after 3 years?
Such a short amount of time. Sometimes I'm surprised that Will and I got married as soon as we did, and it was like 6 years in.
I don't know how Zola ends up on this road trip. I don't know how she...
Well, she, like, immediately regrets it, too. Like, they're still in the car on the way to Florida, and she's like,
It's so wild watching her cope with this Odyssey she's entered into.
Yeah.
Because you're right, she regrets it almost immediately, but she also understands that her best way through it is by leaning in.
Well, yeah, I would even rephrase it to say her best way out is through.
Sure,
like,
sure.
It's not, you can't go backwards at this point. You gotta muscle through the whole thing.
And I think it's a combination of Taylour Paige's performance.
Yeah.
And the real life Zola, the Twitter account, and the fact that she was involved in the writing of the script and all that. Mm-hmm. It is so interesting to me how she doesn't lose control.
Yeah, it's amazing. And she, in fact, takes more control as the
she kind of does, but it's like she really walks this tightrope between doing whatever they tell her to do, but also sort of like I cannot believe, with the exception of at the end, but I cannot believe none of the other guys touched her.
Oh, yeah, same. It's sort of wild that none of them were like, well, they told me 2 people were coming. No, I like that as well.
And it's just like through her sheer grit, like through sheer power of will alone.
Yeah.
She survived that aspect of it. They go to this club. T.S. Madison is hilariously the lead stripper.
Yep. Her name's Hollywood.
She does this mantra, complete with speaking in tongues, about
asking God
the men that God will provide for them.
Yeah. Ones with 840 credit ratings and big dicks.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, do the dicks really matter at a pasties and panties strip club? You know what I mean? Like,
the information just kind of kept tumbling out.
Yeah.
Because that's like, I don't remember if it's citywide or countywide or statewide, but I did know that of at least Orlando. It's like, you have to wear pasties.
Yeah.
And
I did love how gung-ho Zola was. She was like, I'm a full nude stripper. And she was like, fuck this.
Well, I also didn't realize they were in like Michigan.
Detroit.
Yeah. Like, That's a long trip. That's a long road trip.
Yeah. Super long road trip.
Her roommate and Stephanie's roommate and boyfriend. And it's just like.
For anybody who watches Succession, it's cousin Greg.
It's God. And there's just like, there's these little details throughout the movie that like in the moment feel like, oh God, why are we seeing this? But then it does really inform the story.
Yeah.
Like when the girls are going to the bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
And like, there's this the movie's very voyeuristic, which is part of the charm.
Yeah. No, I think it's like, it's absolutely on purpose.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
But there's like this shot of them peeing in the stalls. And like Zola gets up and walks away. And it's just like, there's like a little bit of pee and toilet paper. And then Stephanie gets up and it's just like
fluorescent
it's
yellow.
like orange, like apple juice.
Yeah.
And it's like, this girl is not hydrated.
So dehydrated. And that's only going to fuck you up worse once you bang 16 dudes in a night.
Because they did say 15 minutes, but I was sort of like, because at the point they get to that hotel, I'm like, it's like 2 a.m.
At least.
And this cavalcade of dicks comes through. I don't know how she did it, but because yeah. So basically, the first guy, I probably would have fucked the first guy.
I don't know. He brought her like a present. And we didn't even see what it was. I don't want to know what it was.
No, I mean, not in that situation. But if we like meet at a carnival, go back to his like Durango.
That guy is straight and angry about it.
I'm mostly kidding. But yeah, so it like slips out that Coleman Domingo, who is Stephanie's roommate, is her sometimes pimp.
Well, the way she phrases it is he used to take care of me, which is code for pimp. But he is clearly still taking care of her because especially after when she's like, can I get some of the money? And he's like, I feed you and you have clothes. That's enough. So he's clearly still pimping her.
I'm not a fan of pimps.
No. I'm a fan of Zola. If Zola wants to be a madam, she could be a madam.
Well, because she ran that. Like
100% right.
And that was
okay, that is the thing, is I 100% agree with it. $150 is not enough for full sex. I'm sorry. And so she was like $500.
She was like, pussy's worth thousands.
$500 is like the minimum.
Well, I really appreciated the movie's perspective through Zola, where it's like, we often think of the world in terms of black and white.
Yeah.
And you're either like on the right side or the wrong side of the tracks. And so I thought it was very interesting that Zola, by all accounts and currently is, doing fine.
Yeah.
But she can speak this language.
Yeah.
She can exist in this reality.
Well, stripping is a form of
It's sex
sort
work.
of a form of sex work.
Mhm.
And so the fact that she was like, I can do this and I can help you, but I'm not going to, all power to you. I'm not fucking these random dudes just to give all the money to your pimp. Are you out of your mind?
And the gangbang.
Oh my God.
They're in the middle of nowhere in Bumblefuck, Florida, a screen door, and you just see the people in the audience are like,
it was horrible. They like pulled up and I was like, there's no lights anywhere. I was like, that's a dirt path. And I was like, I don't like what's happening.
and there's like one dude, and then there's another dude, and then there's
It's like
5 dudes.
4 more dudes.
And then there's 4 more dudes. And it's like, because mentally I was playing the survival game and I was sort of like, I can handle this. I can handle this. And you're to where we're like, I can't handle this anymore. And hilariously, that's where they decide to give us Stephanie's side of the story.
Yeah.
Which, is that real? Did this girl do like a Reddit?
So that I don't know.
It felt real.
It felt like something she would say.
And her side of the story was hilarious.
Yeah.
Riley and Taylour were excellent.
So good.
In this, and especially Taylour in Stephanie's, like Zola and Stephanie's version.
Oh my God.
Like the Ratchet Zola version. Oh, which she came out just in the trash bag.
Yeah. So there was actually apparently like a lot of care taken with how Riley Keough approached this role, because it's essentially a like blackface kind of. And I thought it was like very interesting.
You're tense. At least we were tense from the opening. And it's this beautiful gauzy, like anytime they're getting ready, and I really appreciated this. It goes to like a fantasy world.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a scene where Zola is like trying to decide which character she's going to strip with.
Yeah.
And hence, this is from that scene.
Where'd you get this?
It came in my Midsummer.
Oh, bitch. Amazing.
Mm-hmm. I was going to put it with my stuff, but...
Cute.
But yeah, in the beginning, and harps.
Mm-hmm. Lots of harps.
It's so dreamy and heavenly. The score was really unique.
It was cool. Because I would imagine, to be frank, I imagine after driving from Detroit to Tampa, you've slept in a car, you're not getting a full night's sleep the whole time. She must have been delirious by the end of this experience, like 72 hours most.
Well, and it's sort of the coping mechanism of dealing with like sex work, and especially when you get into like human trafficking.
Just kind of go to your secret place.
Yeah, so there's this weird glamour factor that sort of hovers directly above the surface of the movie.
Yeah.
But it never really delves deep. And you never really get a sense of what actually is happening. Does Stephanie genuinely enjoy this? On some level, it felt like she did.
Well, I think especially by the end, when she was like telling Derek to go, like to leave, that she was going to stay with Coleman Domingo and his
Helga.
lady. Yeah.
Gert.
I think by that point she was like, no, this is where I'm going to be. I don't enjoy feels like a weird way to phrase it, but
was it Stockholm Syndrome?
Probably a little.
Because she didn't seem, the only time she felt real was when they first got to the nice hotel room.
Yeah.
And she was talking about her kid, which, I mean, at this point, does she have a kid?
She does.
Okay.
I mean, in the real story, she did. Yeah. And then she had another one later. Because, like, Zola, like, looked her up on, like, social media, and she sort of did that, like, not really born again, but she was, like, way more, like, prim, and she had a new boyfriend, and she was pregnant and stuff, so.
Hence her side of the story.
Yeah.
But no, there was something fascinating about watching Zola navigate through this, and especially like this goes back to what you're saying about like the care they took with Riley Keough approaching the role and all that. And what I meant to say was
because
the first
it is
time,
truly horrifying.
The first time I gasped is when they show Riley with her like baby hairs.
Yeah.
After Zola does it, and I was just like, oh! And it's fascinating how much of this movie is watching Zola navigate this world that she's adjacent to.
Sure.
But it's white people doing it to her, kind of. Does that?
Well, it's a white person.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. There was something about like the way in which she, like, they weren't trying to earn her approval.
Sure. And then
but they kind of were. I don't know. I don't know what I don't know where I'm going here.
It's sort of a weird power play through the whole thing where you're like, is he in charge? Is she in charge? Is actually Stephanie in charge somehow? And it's like,
because we find out that Stephanie,
no.
like, this is just like something she does. She picks up girls and does this. And
no.
The boyfriend, I think he could have been funnier, or it could have been written a little more.
Well, so he just sort of is pathetic in the tweet thread too. And he's like a little bit bonkers. And so there's like a lot of that going on. I think he doesn't actually jump off the balcony in the tweet thread. He just keeps threatening it until they finally are like, okay, just leave with Zola. And then they leave. Oh. They like take them both to the airport.
It was better with him doing it.
No, yeah, it was pretty funny.
Well, especially because when it happened, I was like, I don't know that I mean, obviously it's capable to die from falling off one story. But I was also like, I think you're just going to fuck yourself up.
He just also flung himself so hard he didn't even land in the pool. I feel like you had to try to not land in that pool.
It was very, very fascinating in a modern day mythology kind of way.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. And I think Taylour, Paige, and Riley Keough were like perfectly cast, and then I think they had such good chemistry together.
Because there's that part at the end where she's like Stephanie's talking to Zola and she's just like, I love you. Like,
Yeah.
blah. And there's a part of me where I'm like, oh my God, she's actually means this. Like, she's actually trying to be like,
Yeah.
like she's
friends.
trying to find a Thelma for her
Oh,
Louise.
Yeah. That's a good comparison. That's a good one.
And Zola's just like, and that was fascinating how much she was in control and when she was and when she wasn't.
Yeah.
And the boyfriend picking up that stupid friend. I knew. I was like, there's no way that this isn't
Jason Mitchell, the guy who played Eazy-E in Straight Outta Compton.
okay.
Yeah.
And so they purposefully, because they were new in town, they found their ad, I guess.
Yeah.
And they were holding Stephanie hostage.
They grabbed her when they went for an in-call, and and Zola fucking pieced out and was like, I am gonna need to get out of here. And she managed to do it the right way, where she got them to come and
because that was something I wondered why she never, because there's a point where they're in that nice hotel and it's like, you could have made a break for it in that lobby.
Well, I mean, at that point, I think she was just trying to get to the end of it, because he was like, I know where you live and I know your work. And I don't know if Coleman Domingo looked me in the eyes and started speaking with an African accent out of nowhere and told me he knew where I lived and worked, I might be afraid of him too. I might be like, sure, I'll go with this for at least the next 48 hours.
Well, I mean, I used the word Odyssey to use it again.
Yeah.
It does remind me of myths and legends in that it's plot based. It's not really character. It's not a character study.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a character study, but I agree. I mean, it's a relatively thin plot, but I do think the way that the tweet thread was interpreted, I think was brilliant. And I think part of it is to do with the fact that Zola was part of
making the movie,
the screenplay. She was a producer. And so I think that if I had to guess, some of the sort of whimsical nature of the visuals had to have come from her, because she's at that point, I just have to be she was probably dehydrated by that point. It's so much stuff, just sort of crazy.
A funny story I read about when they were filming is Taylour was talking about her relationship with Riley and how much fun they were having. And she said something about how her grandmother came by set and they hung out and stuff. And someone, I don't remember who it was, but someone on Twitter was like, you mean this grandmother? And it was just Priscilla Presley.
So funny.
Because, I mean, Riley's royalty. She's American royalty at this point.
Well, two ways over, because Elvis is her grandfather and then her father is a baseball player. Yeah.
Well, I mean, Lisa Marie is her mother.
And Lisa Marie is a person as well, yeah.
Like I said, especially if you're voyeuristic, sort of popcorn, oh my God.
Yeah. Plus there was a lot of ass. Both their asses.
Yeah, there was a lot. Well, it was there was a lot of. I went right to the dudes, and I was like, it was not.
No, some of those dicks were perhaps in need of medical attention.
Yeah, one of them for sure. I was annoyed that the body montage was the less conventionally attractive men.
Yeah.
But then there was a second montage of men lying on the bed, and those were all men that I would have been fine with. I could have handled seeing.
Sure.
But
their dicks.
Apparently, that's not part of sex work.
Yeah. You don't get to pick.
I mean, at a certain point, you do, but so yeah, okay. Well, hopefully that was something, and if you think you're gonna like it, you're probably gonna like it.
I think so too. If the trailer did anything for you, I think you're gonna like it.
I love how triggered we get by the cell phone. It's very systemically put in there to put us on alert.
Yep.
The more it happens, and we just start kind of the audience is
yeah. Okay, well, definitely check out Zola. It's in theaters. I suspect it'll be streaming somewhere at some point, but right now it's in theaters, so I would highly recommend it. I thought it was great. And then you can follow us on Twitter @SoI'mWatching or Instagram @SoI'mWatchingThisShow. We also have a Patreon if you want to throw us a couple bucks. That would be great. It's patreon.com/SoI'mWatchingThisShow. Look, I was trying to
That would be most good.
Most good. I was trying to work in some kind of stripper tip joke and I couldn't make it happen in my head in time. Yeah, and you can link out to everything through our website, soimwatching.com. And other than that, just rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes or YouTube or wherever you listen. And that's it for us.